I would like for you to meet Ada. So we're going to find out about her. How many of you like science? Wow. Okay, so I think you're going to like this book. Okay.
I like it.
You like explosions? What do you like?
I like chemicals.
Wow.
Clouds.
Clouds. Okay, so we have a chemist, a meteorologist, and explosive. All right, so this book, Ada Twist, Scientist. Let me turn to the page. All right. Ada Marie, said not a word to the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world, not making a sound. She learned how to climb and make her big break with a trail of chaos left in the wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound in sight and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Her parents were frazzled but tried not to freak. As Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly young Ada with lots in her head would have something to say that ought to be said. Have you guys ever had anything that you wanted to say that you didn't say? So that's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why?" Oh no, why? Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of your nose? She started with why and then asked what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." You guys ask a lot of questions at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are your parents happy when you ask questions?
No.
My daughter asked questions all the time. She would wake up in the morning and they'd never ever stop. She wanted to know why to everything. Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. I know. Why, what, how, when. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a good scientist. You know what makes a good scientist?
Math.
Math. They have to have great math skills. What else makes a good scientist? Huh? Explosions, yes. But how do they figure out how to make explosions?
What's some Diet Coke?
You know what? They have to figure out what to use. And what were you gonna say, baby?
They have to cut out what kind of tools or safety steps they have to use.
They sure do. So they do all of those things by asking lots and lots of questions. So Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her in her nose, a pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her to thinking, "What is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And what does a She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She started at the start, where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. So again, asking lots and lots of questions to figure out things. Too many questions. I know, but that's what scientists do. They ask so many questions so they can figure out how and what to use to make those explosions that you're talking about. You do not talk to me. Just
at home I do.
Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. I know. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. So it wasn't the cabbage stew. What do you think was making the stinky smell?
The cabbage stew.
Then Zoe, the stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2 is caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" Why did her parents tell her to stop? I know. Do cats go in the washing machine? No. So they had to tell her stop. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now. By the time we count to 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said, no. What? Ada queried. Her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. Everybody say, oh. I know. Have you ever had to go to the timeout chair?
No.
Yes. It's not very fun having to go to the corner or the timeout chair.
But my mom sends me to my room. I had to sit on my mom's bed for 5 minutes.
5 minutes can feel like a really long time.
Not really. 1 minute is 60 seconds.
You are brilliant. You are brilliant. Okay, so she sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada came once more, could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Why does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking what was the source of that terrible stinking, Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she answered 2. And each of those led her to the 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got to thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then with what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Having a hard time turning. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. I once had to repaint my hallway because my daughter did exactly this on my hallway. You guys have never written or painted or colored on the walls, have you?
No. My sister and Alabama has.
That was not fun painting over all of that.
Well, maybe when my baby sister gets on the she'll probably do that. And I won't be looking. And I'll just be doing something because she's going to get in timeout. Then I'm going to send her to the wall.
Sometimes I paint my whole wall red.
Don't do that. Don't do that without permission.
You had to ask your mom.
Then I washed it off.
Well, at least you have washable walls, and that's a good thing. So they watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We'll figure it out." And as for that smell, what could Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question, and someday, who knows? The end.